I'm full of insecurities and overthinking, and I'm just so tired of being tired. And it's a really scary state of the world that we're living in right now at the time of me filming this. I've been really down and out and depressed and just oversleeping and on my phone a lot and just ingesting so much that is paralyzing me. And I'm just wondering if it's possible for me to finally be free of this. Can I finally show myself to the world? Can I finally live a life where I'm a part of the world and not just trapped in my imagination 24/7? I don't want to waste any more of my life. I just took a shower and I hadn't taken one in like a couple of days, and I've just been rotting, and I'm filming this on the floor, and my parents are talking outside my room in the hallway, and it's kind of annoying me, and I feel like this is better than letting all of my OCD thoughts and like perfectionist thoughts prevent me from doing anything at all. And I'm here, and that's what matters. I don't care if there's obstacles. I'm not gonna let anything put me down, prevent me from continuing. If I need to take a break, that's fine, but we're not stopping from here on out. And I will be seen. You'll be seeing a lot more of me. Trust. Trust you will. And things don't need to be perfect. I'm gonna figure out my style and my presence on here as I go. I don't need to know exactly what that is right now. All I want to say is here I am. My name is Lexi, and this is just the beginning. It feels like my whole life has been leading to this moment. I remember my old YouTube channel I had when I was a kid. That was back when you could really customize your page and everything. I think my username was SuperSky52 or something like that. I really want my YouTube videos to feel like old YouTube, like from the 2000s, very warm and kind of fuzzy and simplistic and low budget. Not just as an excuse, but you know, you can find some harmony between needing to work in a lower budget and being like it's aesthetic. I feel like that lower quality, fuzzy, nostalgic quality of things inspires people to connect more to the subtleties in our feelings. It allows us to find the abundance in the little things. This is a homecoming. I want this to be a welcoming space for my inner child to return to the world in the ways that she would have dreamed of. One day in the late 90s, my mother was in the kitchen of our home, gazing out of the window into the backyard, that lush, wide space full of trees on the other side of the fence, towering high. And she decided in that moment she was ready to have her first child. I like to imagine that my little baby spirit was floating around her saying, I want to play back there, I want to play in that yard, and I want to play make-believe and come up with stories and run through the sprinkler and look at the flowers and all of those things. And then pretty soon, on an August day in 1998, I was born. If you are here, that means that we have something in common, and that is that we are all late bloomers in some shape or form. You might feel deeply connected to your childhood, you might feel like a child at heart, and that you feel that something is missing now in your life that felt more rich at that time when you were younger. And you might also feel like you've been stunted quite a bit in terms of growth in your life. You feel that in many areas of life, in many traditional milestones, you feel stuck in a stage of infancy, like you can start things or touch the very basic foundations of things, but you never truly excel in the ways that you want to. I've often found that when I have just sprouted or even budded, that something comes in and cuts me down, or I wither before I'm even able to bloom properly. For whatever reason, and I might not know that reason exactly, it feels like I've been waiting so long for my life to begin. There's been this severe hesitancy within me to give my all to things, even if deep down I desperately wanted to. I feel like I had everything done for me when I was young. I think it may have come from a place of my parents wanting to be nice to me and my brother, or perhaps it was a fear of having to engage in the consistent effort and difficulties and nuances of raising a child and constantly encouraging their growth and independence. I was sort of left alone to my own devices and left to my own little world, where I suppose the milestones of growth were just expected to happen to me without any intervention from my family. I think about all of my old home videos from when I was a baby and a little girl that I watched not too long ago, and it actually amazes me and borderline disgusts me how much me and my brother were spoiled with so many gifts for Christmas, for our birthdays. I feel that maybe our parents were trying to compensate for maybe the things that they couldn't have, but I feel that this may be a pattern throughout many parts of history, but especially for my generation, I feel like maybe a lot of parents thought that because of the newfound stability that maybe their parents, our grandparents, didn't have, that a way of showing nurturing or love to their children was through financial means and toys and such. I can see how Toyland and a lack of nurturance of reality and real growth contributed to my tendency to lean into fantasy. I feel like this lack of discipline and involvement in my childhood contributed unintentionally to a belief that I'm not worth more than the bare minimum, or that things aren't worth taking a chance on, things aren't worth the little consistent steps that are necessary to grow. Unless I knew for sure things would be perfect and exactly as planned the first time, I didn't think that it was worth taking a chance on, I suppose. I have spent so much of my life in fantasy that oftentimes it feels more real in that world than real life does. Real life was often supplement to my fantasies rather than the other way around. I would spend much time daydreaming. Every day I'd come home from school and go downstairs and pace and dance around to music on the radio or from YouTube, and I'd come up with stories and imagine I was in a music video, things like that. In my head, I was always a star. I was always the princess. I was always the love interest. I could do all of that, be all of those things without any effort, and that's how I preferred it for a long time. I was always the shy, quiet, socially awkward girl growing up, and people always noticed and admired my little sparkles and the little things that I would contribute here and there, whether it's my insights or something creative or unique that I would say or do. But it always felt like I only ever brushed the surface of what I could contribute. I think there is something a bit addictive about being so quiet and distant so that when you finally do say something or do something, people seem so surprised or wowed with what you do, and it makes you feel kind of special and kind of makes you want to like recreate that every time you do something, which is not realistic. So maybe that's something I attached to also, is that reputation of being the sweet, quiet girl that was very easy to be around. I felt that I wasn't able to fully grow or develop who I was in the way that others did, in the way that one should develop oneself in life. I was always very jealous of prodigies as a young person, just the young people that could really hone and practice a skill consistently and really excel at it. I was just really obsessed with that, obsessed with people with real skills and dedication, whatever that was that allowed them to soar that way. I just wanted it so bad, whatever it was that they had that I didn't. It makes me think of the girls that I was on dance team with in school, the girls that had been practicing since they had like come out of the womb. I had a really wounded relationship with growth. I believed that there was this fixed point or spectrum in which my abilities stretched. Even if I did have proof of growth in some area, it's like my mind perceived it as just, oh, I always would have been able to do that because I just have like this fixed extent of abilities that have nothing to do with my effort or my consistent growth. My dance team coaches were very encouraging, and the ways they encouraged me have stuck with me, especially since I didn't have a whole lot of adult figures that really encouraged me. One day during dance practice, I remember my coach telling me that I looked like I was growing dancer legs while doing grand jetés across the floor. Because I wasn't practicing or improving at the rate of my peers or in the way that I might have wanted to, I guess I just assumed that I wasn't growing at all, but of course that's never true. We're always growing. And I think it was my inability to appreciate myself in those little efforts that really contributed to my depression at that time. But I just remember feeling so proud whenever my coaches would point out the ways that I had grown, because it felt extremely difficult for me to do that for myself. I just had an emotional realization that this is my baby, and I'm treating her with the patience that I deserved in life. I'm not telling her to not even try because she is taking some time to come together. Taking breaks when she needs, but not giving up. Staying encouraging, allowing the process to unfold with grace and appreciation for each little moment. No perfection or nothing mindset. No, it's too late to keep going. I'm not running away nor forcing. Just allowing her to be. Somewhere in our youth or childhood, we must have done something good, because that's how we grow. You never at any point in your life lose that sparkle that's inside of you. It just may be that at different times it's more subtle or more difficult for you to notice, but it's in that noticing and appreciating that inherent wonder inside of you that is how we grow. That's how you nurture it, and that is how blossoming happens. Recently, my mental health has worsened as I retreated more and more into isolation and just recently developed OCD. My idealism contributed to my impulse to do nothing, as anything less than perfection, anything less than my wildest dreams, immediately right in that moment, must have meant failure. I confused the little efforts as being a waste of time. It was an all or nothing mindset, black or white, and it wasn't doing me any good. I recently finished the Late Bloomer audio series by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She's the author of one of my favorite books, Women Who Run with the Wolves. She has such a beautiful voice and presence, and basically she takes classic folklore, fairy tales, mythos, and she applies it to our own lives and psyches, basically showing the ways in which we are inherently sacred. All the stories remain the same, the song remains the same. We are whole because of all of our aspects. You don't watch your favorite movie and wish that all of the imperfections and downfalls of the character were just removed from the story. Because even at our lowest points, even when we're suffering the most, this experience reveals some sort of inherent truth about the nature of life. It makes way for a deeper knowing and acknowledgement of this beauty that transcends everything. A while ago, I did a ritual in my backyard. In honor of my wishes and dreams, I connected with the spirits of my backyard that have been there with me since I was a child, giving me protection, inspiring me, giving me life. I prayed for, like my mother, all of my wishes and dreams to be birthed out of me so that they can dance and play in the world, similarly to how my mother may have imagined me, her little child, running around and playing in the backyard before she had me. It's so incredibly exciting and emotionally overwhelming that I'm finally going to become one of the people that somebody else may be inspired by in the way that I've been inspired by all of the artists that I love. That I'll no longer just be the one living vicariously through my favorite artists and wishing that I could experience what they're experiencing. That all of this hasn't been in vain. And this is just the beginning. Marina and Lady Gaga's Coachella performances. I remember seeing clips from those for the first time, and I had felt like it had been such a long time since I saw like a really good live performance. I feel like the last time probably was Beyonce's Renaissance tour. I just remember feeling so ecstatic seeing the video of Marina singing Are You Satisfied, and then Lady Gaga's whole freaking performance, like obviously. it's just insane how much power and like fire witnessing something like that instills in you, especially if you're an aspiring performer and artist like me. It just reminded me how badly I want to experience something like that and create a world in that way. I've recently been doing the Artist's Way course, and that has completely changed my life and helped me heal my relationship with growth and my identity as an artist. One of the tasks was a media cleanse for me. I did a social media cleanse, phone cleanse, and we were the guinea pig generation for smartphones and social media. The guinea pigs. Like, we were a bunch of sad, anxious, socially awkward, lonely, unencouraged children. And suddenly we were given this device that could cure all of our problems in an instant. A device in which we could access all of our fantasies. We could access the entire world at our fingertips. And you want to think that didn't have something to do with us being stunted. It helped me connect with more like single-use forms of media that used to be more prevalent before the smartphone. I went to Barnes & Noble and I got a magazine, physical magazine, with Marina on the cover. And during that meditation, I just kind of realized how important things like a magazine are, or a CD, or a camera, in the fact that all it is what it is, and you get to be totally present and commune with what it is that you're consuming in a very mindful and beautiful way. I know we associate older forms of media and physical media with nostalgia as well, but it just makes me think of one quote I saw where someone said, the yearning we have for childhood, for the past, that nostalgia that we feel is actually a yearning for presence. And when we're present, we feel a similar feeling of nostalgia because nostalgia is the realizing of what we had that was special in those moments in the past. And when you're present, you get to experience that in real time. It's nostalgia for the present moment, realizing that someday you will look back, even not necessarily needing to think about that, but it is interesting to know someday we will look back at the present moment and feel similarly to other parts of our past. I'm just like, I want to be on a magazine. I want to be in a magazine. I want to be on the cover. I want to be interviewed. I want to be a part of something that involves and is contributed to by like so many other artists. And I know what I want. I want the fame. Fame, fame, baby, the fame, fame. We live for the fame, fame, baby, the fame, fame. Isn't it a shame, shame, baby? Like, but genuinely, what did I tell you guys? My whole life has been leading up to this moment. I want to be a star. I want to be a star. I am a star, but it's just that I am very far. This is such a gorgeous, beautiful month that celebrates so much of what is so many people's experiences with discovering themselves and coming into their most authentic selves, creating and expressing the truest versions of who they are. There's so much joy and so much love that comes with this month, and I feel like, I know that especially right now, that's needed more than ever, and especially when it comes to trans people and trans women especially. And I feel like, if anything, it's trans people that know what it means to be a late bloomer the most, what it means to be coming into yourself at a later age because you had so many obstacles in your way telling you who you should be, confusing you. And yeah, it just takes them a lot of the times a bit longer to find out who they really are. And so if you really want to support people in their late bloomer journey, please don't forget our trans individuals this month and every month. Ellie or Eli, either one works. She released her single Marianne, and so that's really exciting. I got my download. I encourage you, if her music speaks to you, to do the same. She posted a very wonderful video that I feel like encapsulates the late bloomer journey, or what it means to grow into your most expressive and vibrant self. She references the little archetype of the stage girl, and she basically just talks about what the essence of being a stage girl is, and so I'll put that clip.
Stage girl is the most embellished version of yourself. It is the persona that little you, when writing down in 17 magazine, writing down what your personality is like and what your aesthetic is like and how you want to dress and who you are, and all of this self-discovery beauty that can be so joyous as a child, is about keeping that for wherever you are in your life. And whether you're 12 or you're 43, you're a stage girl. Because what is a stage girl? A stage girl is you at your most present, in your most expressive, embellished, extravagant place on stage with a little headset. And it's the version of you that would, in a different reality or in this reality, stand on stage and talk your shit, or sing your shit, or play your shit. Wait, I can usually do it. Hold on. See, that was kind of good. Okay.
It might be easy for somebody who's already lived a whole lot of life to be like, it's the end of the world. the end times are near, and it's like, I don't got time for that. Like, I'm just getting started. Like, I can't be listening to that. I need to live. I know it might seem really, really scary. The idea of growing and blooming at this time in the world when things seem so utterly hopeless and devastating. But you mustn't stop hoping. We need your hope. We know what it's like out of anyone to truly cherish life, to truly yearn to live a life that's free and full, and to not waste a single moment of this precious experience that we get to have. We may think the solution is to return to a nostalgic past or an idealized ever-distant future. But no, what we are experiencing right now and in every moment has been repeated since the beginning of time. It connects us all despite all odds and illusory barriers. It is the repetitive seeking and returning to love. And I know that if we can open our hearts to this knowing, no, not just knowing, but full living embodiment, that each of our petals will unfurl and our scent and color will be known to ourselves and all the world around us. I think of the Von Trapps at the end of The Sound of Music, climbing and making their way through the hills and the mountains with the hope for a new life, leaving behind the one that they knew before. And it's no different from now or any other experience we have. Everything, every feeling has already been felt. We just feel it and experience it in new ways. There are new worlds to be birthed on this glorious earth that we live on, and we mustn't abandon them. They are just as precious as the ones that have come before us. You're a star. I am a star. We're all stars. We are all stories, which means we are all art, which means that we are all divine, just the way we are.